we're further away from each other than usual, and we're further away from the screen because we're trying to do the right thing. So I can't see how many people are actually in at this point. But welcome everybody back. We wish we could be doing all this stuff in person, obviously. But this is the new time, so we wanted to see everybody's faces. And what I really wanted to go through today, and I have Elohio and Vicky on now, and me and Elohio are rolling up on 2 years of being together. And Vicky I've known for longer than that, but she's been working with me for almost a year and a half at this point now. So we've been together a while, and for those who don't know, and a lot of you on here probably do know, Real Estate Disruptor really started as what was supposed to be a mastermind, and we'll get back to that later because things come full circle, where I was trying to create I was being pushed to create a mastermind to talk about real estate. And when I really thought about it, my expertise really relied more on how I had branded myself over the years and how I had worked on marketing to really build my business. So that's what really became the concept of Real Estate Disruptor, which Elohio and I kind of birthed first, and we spoke about it, and we started to create it. And then at some point, I roped Vicky in. I said, I need you to help me put on this first seminar. And we and that's when she came on board, and that's when we started planning Real Estate Disruptor, which is the first seminar we did last June. So it's about to be a year.
Right there, real close for a year.
Yeah, we're close for a year.
Yeah.
And then the brand's kind of grown through there from marketing wise. So what I really wanted to get into today, and what we'll start here, is I really wanted to talk to Elohio and Vicky, who know more than anybody else about it, on how we grew the brand and how they felt we grew the brand effectively, and the mistakes that we made, and what we're kind of doing now to push it forward, because we made plenty of mistakes. And when I think back on the first event, I'm not really even sure how we got it to work and how people showed up, but they did.
For sure. And so many people showed up too on top of that.
And we've had plenty of problems since then. And live event, this is easier and more controlled than live events. When we've had live events, even the last one, we lost our venue like 5 days before the actual event, and we were able to kind of get around it. That makes me happy as well. So welcome everybody.
Welcome. I know you guys haven't seen me in a while. Ralph has been killing it every single week. But I'm actually very, very excited because, like Ralph said, we're literally 3 weeks or a month away from the year anniversary for Real Estate Disruptors, and to be able to see exactly where we have come, you know what I mean, from something that started off as a conference and a mastermind type of course to actually being able to build something that people really feel attached to. People really feel like we're a family. And I remember just our last event, even though we had a crazy thing like 5 days before, like our venue is canceled. I remember when I was on stage and I said it to everybody in the crowd, and I'm looking at people that have now become like really good friends, and like people that continue to come to our events, continue to participate, to talk to us, bring in business. And it's like we've really been able to build something that other people resonate with, And so I know we're gonna go into the questions of like how we've been able to build a brand and stuff. But I believe that the first thing that it was,
Yeah. And I just want to add to that. I just want to add to that. I think many people assume or believe, we have all the experts, or we have all the answers, and we have a huge team. But I think, and in fact, we did not. I remember 12 months ago when Ralph asked me to join full time. And he said, Vicky, I really want you to help me build this mastermind course, a social media mastermind event. And then I asked Ralph, okay, great. We're going to need this. We're going to need that. We're going to need this. How many people do you have on your team? I remember the answer you gave me. You were like, it's just Elohio, me and you. That's it. I'm like, that's it. So I think the number one lesson for anyone that's really trying to build a brand is you can start with nothing, but start with vision. Like 100%, 12 months going into this, I see it now. I think definitely, Ralph, it was a vision that you had first that helped me figure out how can I execute on this vision. And what was unique to you, Ralph, is you were able to identify talent to help you execute that vision. But you don't need to have the answers. You don't need to have a huge team. You don't need to have all the resources. But I'd say start with the really, really strong vision and allow others to buy into your vision, because once they're sold on your vision, I'm a testimony to that, and Elohio, you as well. Once you're sold into someone's vision, you're going to figure out those answers. You're going to find those resources. You're going to build that community that's going to help you execute on that vision, execute on that brand.
Yeah, and I think more importantly for everybody who's on here, and anybody who's participated in our events or our webinars or whatever, is that the community that's around this, the real estate community around this, is really what's helped us the most build this. I really believe so. You know, from ideas to participation to adding us to your events, I think that this became a community event, and that's what's really helped us the most. So, you know, more than anything, I think that's really been a big part of this. And I'm going to start getting, and I'm going to really moderate this more than anything. This is going to be more Elohio and Vicky. So I just want to kind of get some questions that I have for them that I'm interested in, and I think that'll help you guys understand what we've done and how it can help you with your own businesses on a go forward. Okay, so Vic, my first question is for you. With your digital background, what have you seen from your previous projects? You have a big digital background in general. What do you think is, socially been our best strategy in growing this on social platforms?
Yeah. So this is by far, I'm being very honest and transparent with everyone here, by far the most challenging and most rewarding project or experience I've ever been a part of. I think I shared this with Ralph several months ago, but I've never, ever seen or witnessed or been a part of building a brand from scratch. And when I say scratch, meaning it was just an idea, just a vision, 0 people working for that brand, building out the brand, 0 brand ambassadors, 0 followers. And I'd say like the number one thing prior to working with Ralph, you know, I've had the opportunity to work with NJCU, which is a university, and build out their brand videos and the county entrepreneurial organizations and build out their brand content. But they always had a mission. They always had a vision. They've always had a community. With this, it was really just literally starting from 0. And so the strategy then became, okay, you know, how do we have other people besides myself, besides Elohio, besides Ralph, buy into this real estate disruptor brand? So the strategy I think that worked to our advantage is we really were able to go from 0 to 100 through digital. Like social media, in my opinion, I feel worked to our advantage. For our first event, Ralph and Elohio, if you recall, you know, it was just a matter of like reaching out to people via DM, reaching out to people on comments and social media. You were being tagged on almost every single post and reposted and retag. So that worked in the favor of the algorithms, then continuing to post. So that told Instagram, that told Facebook, that told LinkedIn, this event must be relevant. Let's push it up, let's push it up, let's push it up. More followers, more awareness, more engagement. So in my opinion, working on this project, I definitely can say digital worked to our advantage. Social media.
And along those lines, you're right about that. A lot of people ask me how my social media has grown, and a lot of it, how it grew, is being tagged through stuff on this by other people who were influencers on Instagram or whatever, that they tagged me, and my following grew from other people's followers. So as you're trying to grow your following, it's always, I think, collaborating with other people in your community that are pushing similar messages to you is the fastest way to grow your social media. And it's really worked for us in a bunch of different ways. Along those lines, so Elohio really runs the media side of my business, and we have a media company together that's HQ Media, and he does all the visual stuff for me and my companies. So my question's really based along those lines. What do you think strategy-wise, visually, for social media has worked for us the best? Like, what if you could look at one strategy that we've done visually, what do you think has worked the best, and how has that grown?
I think that it's funny because we're gonna try to do this in post. Actually, we could send them like the first video of what we worked on that we really liked, right? We walked across the pier, and it's about legacy, right? So just that one video, just handheld us, just walking and talking, and just seeing what it was from there to what it became now. Just a video you posted today of us just talking about Jordan, right? And the mentality that is, right? So I think that the strategy there was really using content in a completely different form, right? That when you look at a lot of people now, a lot of people are trying to catch up, right, to what we've been doing. So they're sitting down in front of their cameras and they're talking about different ways and different strategies to do things, right? But in reality, we were trying to build our content around the person, or build it around the brand itself of what we represent. So when you look at everything that we've produced so far, everything has always been about how can we solidify, just like Ralph is the real estate disruptor, like the one that giving everybody the wisdom to be able to learn about these different things during this time period. Who are you going to look towards when a pandemic is happening and you need to learn about what's going to happen to the real estate market? Who can you rely on for this information? And I think that that's the problem that with a lot of people when they build a brand, they're looking to build a brand in order to find out how to monetize it, as opposed to building a brand in order to provide value.
Yeah.
And I think that as far as the content strategy that we did, it was more about building credibility for everyone within our Disruptors brand, that you would want to listen, because we're not trying to sell you anything. Yeah, obviously we monetize in different ways, they're going to monetize and stuff, but it's always been about providing value. And so the content side of everything was always about how can we get you to that point and get everyone to pay attention, as opposed to going and expecting us to keep selling them on an idea.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I also learned that, like,
Well, with the Lohio and Grant's way of editing, you know, the most important thing to always keep in mind when you're creating post content is tell a story. Like, I think that was huge for us. We told the story, we sold you on an experience so that it piqued further curiosity and you were open to attending our next event. Or if you never attended our first event, you were like, wow, this looks so cool. This looks so interesting. So always keep that in mind when you're creating content. Don't just sell the product, sell the experience. Don't just sell a house, sell the experience. And that was unique to the content that Elohio and Grant created, because they sold you on a story. They sold you on an experience.
And that's the thing that's the most important when it comes to real estate, mortgage, anything, any business that you're pursuing now, that at the end of the day, it's not about the product that you're selling, right? Especially if you're a real estate agent, at the end of the day, it's not about the houses that you're selling. If I'm a potential client of yours to sell my home, I want to know who you are. You know what I mean? I want to understand who you are as a person. And at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, the reason why I no longer use business cards, right? It's the simple fact that my Instagram is my business card. So if you want to know who I am, if you want to contact me, now you have a digital source to understand who I am. You know, now you can go and look at the videos, listen to me speak, read my captions. You know exactly who I am, and I've been able to build a brand so that people could truly understand who I am, and because of that, it brings you more business. So for real estate agents, right, a lot of people are watching it right now. Focus less on how can we make the house look so cool, right? Like, yeah, we're gonna make the house look amazing if you hire us to do your listing videos and stuff like that. But like, but at the end of the day, what we really resonate, even with the media company, is how can we help you build your brand as a person? You know, that if you're using Instagram ads around the area, now how can we put you in front of that ad where you are actually giving people the value of who you are as a person, because that's how they resonate with you and want to work with you.
Yeah, I think more than anything, and I talked to Ryan Serhan's brand manager at some point. He was calling me. We were trying to do something together, and what he told me was interesting. He said, you know, Ryan's not naturally what he is in front of the camera. So the point of social media is you have to try to be cool in yourself without trying to look like you're looking cool.
Yeah.
So, you know, for him, sometimes it's work and they have to work on it. But what Elohio told me at the beginning, which has really worked for me, and even when we interview now, is he just throws questions at me as if we're having a conversation. So my videos, I like the way they come off, because they come off how I really would speak in general. And what I would say to everybody who's on this, I think the best thing that I got out of from you guys is just be authentic to who yourself is, so you don't have to pretend to be anybody else.
Yep.
If you're hardworking and you're continually trying to innovate and grow your business, just be authentic to who you are, and that'll resonate most. And you know, when I talk to realtors, and I had this conversation this week, it's when you post something on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever it is. If it was a customer in front of you right now and they said, "Give me your social media, let me look at it," would you be okay with everything they were seeing? And would that be promoting the brand that you are and the brand that you want to be represented? And that's how I really view social media for me. It's just like I said, it's a business card. Mm-hmm. So if I was to post this right now, and whoever my customers were standing in front of me, would they like what I posted? And everybody's not going to like everything you post, but like, you know, I want to represent myself the right way.
Yeah.
So I think that's important, obviously. Vic, what do you see now that you've been through a year of the brand? You know, what do you see as the best strategies that we're working on now that you think are working the most effectively from the standpoint of what you're working on for the people that we're working with in our community that are connected to Disruptor?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I think 12 months ago when we were building the brand and building the real estate community, we didn't figure out how are we capitalizing, how are we converting, what are we offering them, what is it, you know, that they're a part of specifically. I think through those 12 months and through tons of trials and errors, we finally figured out that I can confidently say, and all of us as well that's part of the team, that we've grown to become a 3-person team, right? Me, you, and Elohio, to working with like 8 event and marketing coordinators. We've hired vendors to execute on a lot of our realtor campaigns. We work with website designers and graphic designers where we have our in-house video team. So I would say like months of trial and error, that became unique to us. And many people don't know because we don't promote ourselves, but we do mortgages. Like I work for a mortgage company, you know, and I think that became super unique to us is that, you know, we were able to build a community first, and then through the months of brand building and building that community of realtors, you know, we were able to come in as a mortgage company and offer a unique value prop. So I can have a meeting with any realtor and say, look, as a mortgage company, we can do X, Y, Z. But within our mortgage company, our division, you know, we can offer you lead gen strategies. We can offer you video production services. We have event coordinators. You know, we're trained on using CRMs. And these are the specific tools that are going to help you grow and scale your business.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. I think our strategy, whether it's Real Estate Disruptor or the mortgage company, whatever we're doing is, my strategy for what you said is 100% true. Always provide value first, and if I help you build your business, then we can help build our business. And I think that's how I've built my brand, and I think that's how you can build your brand if you're listening to this. If you provide value and you're actually helping people as a source of knowledge or whatever, and we try to be a source of a bunch of different things, but that people will find value and they'll want to do business with you, and then you can monetize.
100%.
Yeah.
I think those are like if you're writing your stuff down right now, like the number one thing is try to figure out who you are. Like what is your brand? You know what I mean? If you're a Latina in the Bronx trying to show other Hispanic buyers that they can actually become home buyers as opposed to just renters for the rest of their life, if that's who you are, you resonate with that idea, identify with that, and now start to build that brand around it, right? Now you have that. Second thing after that is figure out how you can shape your content or shape everything you're doing around that same idea. Because now people are going to resonate with you. You know, you don't have to get every buyer in the world like you do with music and stuff. Like not everybody's going to listen to your music, but you're going to have a clique. You're going to have a niche of people that really want to resonate with that music.
Your volume of your voice
He's
sounds
a little low.
low.
Okay.
I'm gonna start rapping loud. I'm gonna freestyle the rest of it. But so once you have the idea of your brand, right, and then you go into the second aspect of actually using that content, and how can you using that content, shaping everything around it, you move towards the last step, and now is how you're gonna add value with that content. You know, so you get the brand, you figure out how you can actually create your content and everything around it. But the last part, which is the most important, forget about everything else. You know, it's how can you provide value now to all of those people, and because of that, people become your long-term client. You know, like even when I'm talking to people for our media business, like every single one of them will be our clients forever. And I don't even consider them clients. That's a crazy word for me. It's just like relationships that we have, that it's just, I see how I can provide so much value into your business that like, I want to be able, let's see what we can get to in a year. Forget about like, let's work on a listing video or a branding video. Like, let's think about what's the game plan in a year from now. How can we get to that place?
Yeah.
Now that's you now actually showing people who you are, and that's your brand, and that stays consistent with those people. And that's how you get the network of different people, individuals, more people.
Just to add to that, just to add to that 100%, I agree with that. You know, Seth Godin, who's like the king of marketing, he calls these the early adapters. He says, these are the people that are going to fall in love with your brand, fall in love with your product, fall in love with your idea. And they're not part of the masses that are purchasing mainstream product, right? Or the mainstream idea. These early adapters, you get them to fall in love with your vision, with whatever you're doing. These are the people that will spread the word and that will continue to bring in more people. So that I saw happen with our brand, with the Real Estate Disruptor, it really became like a really small group, these early adapters. And then they were the ones that spread the word, that promoted our events, that brought in new realtors to us. So it was just a rewarding experience to watch all of that unfold.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a good point. I think you're right. For me, I think anybody I do business with, and this is part of what I'm trying to develop, and we'll get to that in a little bit, which we'll develop in the mastermind, but I want to be able to refer my network, and by referring the people in my network to other people that need help, I want to be able to know that they're doing a great job and it's the best experience they can have. So if I refer you to Elohio or to Vicky or to Grant or to whoever, that you had the best experience you possibly could have, and it was like you're comfortable dealing with me. I want you to be comfortable dealing with the people that I'm referring you to. So I think growing your network with the right people for yourself is the most important thing. And that, for Disruptor now, I think that's really been more than anybody, that I can call somebody and refer them to them and be comfortable giving them business, and they can refer back to me and they're comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it. Elohio, where do you see, how do you think our branding and your personal brand has grown through the initiatives that we've put together? Like, you just said it. We started with a video with me and you walking on the pier with a little handheld camera. You're working with a lot of different equipment at this point now, and more staff and that kind of stuff. Where would you tell somebody that was just starting out and getting started what they should focus on, not to make the mistakes we made in growing that? Like, how could they produce high quality content without having to spend $1 million or have an 8-person staff? Because you could be people on this call right now, it's like, that's great, but the kind of people you guys have working for you right now, like, we didn't always have that. So,
Sure.
So how could they produce high quality content without having 8 people and all this people on staff? You know what I mean?
I would say that even if we think about that same exact video, that was the video that got so much love on your Instagram compared to everything else, right? Because even at that point, it was about authenticity. You know what I mean? That it was we were resonating, people resonated with just the idea of who you were, because you were talking about leaving a legacy, and like leaving something for your family, right?
Yeah.
So like for people that are just beginning right now and like trying to produce new content and do things like this, figure out what your message is, right? Because whether it's you walking in a pier or you walking inside one of the real estate listings, I'm gonna tell you how I would resonate with it, right? Imagine you walking through a listing, right? You're walking through the house. You can turn the camera that way, right? And you can be showing, oh, this is the granite, countertops, right? Look at nice bedroom views of the Hudson. Like, you can do that, and you're gonna be selling some people. But what about if you turn that camera around and now you're literally just talking to them about what is the process in order for you to buy this house? You know what I mean? Like, what is it? Like, people that actually don't even know that, like, what is that FHA? And like, how can you actually get into this home for 3.5%? Or think about what is the calculation you need to do. And like, that's you diversifying your content in order to add value to the people that are watching you, And so even from when we began this and we only had us just walking around with the cameras trying to figure it out, we had the vision of where we wanted to go with this. And what was consistent, what was the control group throughout the whole thing, was the message itself, that it had to stay consistent. So the cameras could change, the amount of people holding the cameras could change, the places, the venues, everything could change, but what didn't was the message. And so that's why I say in the beginning, it's just the brand, understand what that is, and everything else will be executed, and it's going to continue to grow, but that has to stay relevant the whole way.
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to Angela Zoro that said you're all authentic, and that's what makes the most attractive. So thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Angela. Appreciate it. And that's, you said something just that, towards the end that really, for me, resonated. Have an idea of what you want your brand to be. And I know most people don't think of themselves as a brand, but we all are brands. Like, have an idea of what you want your brand to be, and then consistently be that person posting, and consistently be that person in your messages, and just consistently be that person. It could just, so I think you have to come up with what you want. Like, ideally, this is what I want people to think of me, and this is what I want my brand to be, and then work from there. We can all do it. None of us went to school for this.
Not at all.
So we're just kind of learning on the fly.
Yeah.
We're all learning on the fly, so it's a lot of trial and error.
Not
This is the disruptor
in
school.
college.
Yeah.
This is the disruptor school right here. That's what we're going through.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Vic, what are we working on in the future? Like, what are you developing right now through Real Estate Disruptor and through the Real Estate Disruptor? You think it's going to be really effective, and that people should be developing for themselves or trying to work with us on? What do you have right now?
Definitely, my focus for the past 2 months, definitely has been on sales lead generating systems, like actually putting together systems in place to then train our team on how to generate leads for both realtors and loan officers. So that's been exciting. That's been obviously, keeping me super busy and occupied, continuing to build more relationships with realtors as well. It's always good to have conversations with realtors that are very advanced and high level in marketing. And I have an idea of what's new in marketing, what's trending, what are they doing? And then with the new realtors as well, I love those as well, because with those realtors, I learned what are the needs? What are the pain points? How are you currently generating leads? So both give me perspectives in how to improve our sales generating system that we've been working on as a team for the past 2 months.
Yeah, and guys, we're doing a lot of stuff through Facebook ads and social ads at this point, and just that part where Vicky's gotten through the last 2 months. She said the last 2 months, but we've been testing leads for 8 months now, and we're starting to get the quality better, and we're starting to figure out how to work them. So that's something if you guys want to have one-on-one conversations with Vicky about on how we're doing that, and after the call, just reach out to us. But that's definitely something that isn't easy. We've spent a lot of money trying to perfect it, and it's still a very much work in progress. But the reason I like it is because I can tell there's a lot of value in there. You're reaching people you wouldn't normally reach. And look, I've just been on the radio. We were on Power 105.1. I've been on television. I've been all this stuff, and it's very expensive to advertise that way. And to be totally honest with you, it's a crapshoot. Whether you're going to catch somebody in the car or on TV or on a streaming app, and they're going to resonate with what you're saying, is still a crapshoot. So I like the social advertising because you can be more consistent. I like things that I can be consistent at. Mm-hmm. So if I can do consistent things every single day, I'm going to catch my client for a cheaper, and I can do it for a cheaper amount of money. Big brand advertising, which we've done, is very, very expensive, and it doesn't necessarily always work.
Yeah.
So it's just something to keep in mind. Aloysius, how about you? I know that we have a couple of new things that you've been working on since this pandemic started, as far as like new media initiatives.
Yep.
Can you tell them a couple of things we're working on and how kind of we're innovating there and how it can help other people?
For sure. I mean, I think that I've become a full-blown web designer throughout this whole pandemic. I think that that one of the number one things that I've tried to learn and new skills during this whole thing was actually how to create this second side of what we've been doing here. Like a lot of people have come to our events and we've added a lot of value to everyone, bringing them on. In just our first event, every single event that came after that, we wanted to add a lot of value. And so now that we're looking into a world that it might not be as socially attractive for people to go into a lot of events and stuff like that. So we figured out that we have to be able to create a similar type of value proposition for them, but that not necessarily physically. And so now we've moved towards actually creating our own masterminding courses and things like that online, where now you guys are going to be able to be a part of it with us, where we're going to continue to give you content, but also leave a database of information for you guys to use, and you can access it at all times in order to go and actually reach the higher level within your business. And so we've been working on a lot of projects like that in order to be able to provide for clients or provide for anybody to be able to actually continue to gain value in this new post-COVID world, right? And I think that it's always been interesting because we've always been like, yeah, when are we gonna get this going and when we're gonna do it? But and it feels so right now because we could have did this 6 months ago. We've been working on me and Ralph have been working on I remember last year
and a half, yeah.
Yeah, like in the cold. We're just like freezing, walking in the cold, like in a park doing a video about a mastermind.
Yeah,
like,
we filmed the whole mastermind that we never released that we filmed in the winter outside.
Completely,
So maybe someday that'll come out, but we've perfected it since then. But Logio's hit on the head. We've been working on this mastermind for a long time, and we've never wanted to release it because I want it to be right. We got one chance. We got one chance to really provide the value we want to provide. But what I really feel like it's become is what these webinars are. Like I want to have weekly meetings with you guys that are networking meetings. That it's not just me talking; it's all of us talking. And I want to bring speakers like we've brought in to give you courses and advise you guys on how you can make your business better. So that's the mastermind we're working on that we're going to release soon. And I'm really excited about it. And you're going to get all of us in a different manner, and it's going to really hopefully help all of us grow our businesses. But yeah, that's something we've been working on. You're right, for almost 2 years.
It's been a while, and the reason why it's taken so long is from the beginning. My first statement in the webinar that like it wasn't about monetizing. It's never been about like the money aspect of it, how we can sell a course. Because anybody can sell a course. You go on the internet now and you see a bunch of guys that selling a course. They're just great marketers, but they haven't really done much. So there's a lot of false prophets out there, right? But we've taken a good amount of time to be able to provide something or create something that can really give you, and it's all about value. It's all about how you can use this to reach a higher level. Whether your business is at, if you're selling 500,000 a year, $1 million a year, 10 million a year, how do you get from that to the next level? How can we provide? I'm the branding guy, right? Like I'm into the media side of things. Like how can I now give you value and complete? But I also needed to have this year to grow into where we're at right now.
Yeah.
In order for me to be able to visualize how a brand can go from what it is to what it is now, to be able to provide that value for you, and same thing with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think every single, for better or worse, and I know this isn't the greatest time in the world, but it's been a good time to really, and I've said this on other calls for me, to really reset, concentrate on what really makes sense, educate myself, and really finish projects that we were working on.
Yeah.
So it's important. You have some video stuff that you're doing now too that I know we were working on. Like we're working on with the media company, you're working on some special listing videos.
Yep.
And some stuff like that. So can you just touch on that a little bit also?
Yeah. So actually, now since nobody wants to go outside, we actually provide that service to be able to help all of these potential buyers for all the real estate agents and even mortgage bankers, to be able to go and re-experience or give them the experience of living in that home, And so we've been doing a lot of very interesting stuff, Sometimes we did the cinematic one, where we have people actually as actors in the house. So giving that experience for the people of someone that would live there, but also just being able to provide that extra source for real estate agents at a time like this, where for a fact that a lot of people, you could go and a lot of people doing the FaceTime walkthrough, like virtual tours, but how about if you were actually able to create a cinematic piece for those people that they can sit there and really experience the home? And even aside from that, one of the greatest things that I've seen, we were working with one of our clients, and I remember the son came up to me and he's like, yo, can you send me the video after it's done? And I was like, well, you into the video thing? And he goes, no, because I need to keep it for the memory of what this home was, and now even us tapping into that side of it, that people are in such a difficult time that even when they're leaving the house right now, they're leaving in such a difficult period that even a video like that, one is resonating with the buyer because you're going to get potential customers.
Thought of that before.
Yeah, it's good. It hit me. I literally sat there and I'm like, just imagine what you could do with that.
Yeah.
So, but aside from just the listing videos and stuff like that, we're really focusing on a lot of the personal branding for people. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the real estate game is going to come back, and it's going to come back stronger than ever, right? And we need to be able to help you guys brand yourself so that people know that they can look at you. Because at the end of the day, people are living in a state of fear, and they need someone to continue to provide value to them. And so we're just really trying to be that source for you guys to be able to share your message, and lead those people to the right conclusions.
Yeah, for sure. Vic, guys, if you have any questions, start dropping in the Q&A. I can't see it from here, but Vicky's going to go through them if there's any questions.
Okay.
Okay.
I answered.
You answered them? Okay.
Yes.
Guys, and again, so I'm going to, just to kind of give you on a go forward what we're going to be doing. So this webinar is going to continue every single Wednesday. Next week I'm doing one, and we'll get it out to everybody that was on here. And I'm going to do a webinar based on how I was able to obtain mainstream media by myself. So what I did by myself to get on Fox News and MSNBC, and most of the stuff I did to do that, I did on my own. So next week I'm going to go through the strategy of how I did that. And then again, in the next 4 or 5 weeks, hopefully we're going to be releasing our mastermind, which is really going to be a big networking group for our community. Again, we're adapting to times. I don't know when we're going to be able to have events live again. So we want to start seeing everybody weekly, and we want to start helping each other weekly, because the events will really try to help each other grow businesses. So within the next month, we're going to start having an official networking group that we're going to put out to everybody that you can all be part of. Where we're going to have courses on there. We're going to have speakers. It's going to be a network of people that are going to help you grow your business. It's not just going to be real estate and mortgage. It's going to be health. It's going to be fitness. It's going to be digital. It's going to be a little bit of everybody that's in my personal network that's a high level that helps me is going to be part of this group, and they're going to help you, and you're going to help us. So that's coming, and I'm really excited about that. And if there's anything you want to talk to us about or see from us, we'd love to hear from you and know. And again, if anybody has any questions, just let us know now so we can get some answers back to you. But if there's anything you guys want to see from us, I'd love to hear back from everybody on what that is.
Ralph, can we turn it on you and ask you a question?
Oh yeah.
How was it like, building the brand, just working with like a 3-person team? Like, what were some of the pain points of just growing overall?
So it's funny because Elohio talks about manifesting a lot. And I always wanted to have, as I went over the last 4 years, and Vic, I was your client on the digital side for some stuff. Over the last 2 years trying to build this, I always had outside companies I was hired to do all this stuff, and my thought process was I need to have in-house people. I need to have my people who are all working on the same thing. I like the team atmosphere. So I feel like I manifested Elohio first. I wanted an in-house creative, and I wanted somebody that I could build with. And And then we had a relationship. We didn't have this relationship, but we had a relationship, and then you agreed to come in-house. And I think the biggest part for me is I have a lot of ideas. Like, I have a lot of ideas, and I didn't always think of myself as a creative person. I think you guys and the people around me have made me realize that I'm creative, because as I come up with ideas, I'm able to curate them with you, and you add stuff to it, and you give me things. And I think because, and this is for anybody that's listening, just start with an idea. Once you start with an idea, as you make mistakes and as you start to think it out, you'll be able to like bolt new things onto it, and the idea becomes bigger and bigger and more well run. And that's what this was. This started as one thing and it became something else because I was able to curate it with you guys, and you're able to add more to it, and people on this call were able to add more to it, and that, that's been the biggest thing for me. Creating a team of all the people that have been involved with it has been the most rewarding part for me.
We have a question. What's the biggest mistake you think can happen when branding?
So I think I touched on it before, and more than anything, what I've seen out there, and I'm in the business a long time. I'm in the business almost 20 years. There are a lot of people who are very, very authentic people. They have a lot of experience in life that aren't out here talking on social because they don't feel comfortable. At the same time, there's a lot of people who don't have experience that have come up with a sales pitch, and then they're pitching that sales pitch without having any real substance behind it. They don't really have experience in what they're pitching. So I think for both of those cases, just be authentic to yourself. Speak to what you have knowledge on. I don't think people want to be preached to. Like, I don't want to get on and tell you this is how you have to do it, because what works for me may not work for you. So like I said before, your Instagram and your social media is your business card. Explain to people how you want to be represented on business, and don't think you have to be Gary Vee or Tony Robbins or anything else. Just be authentic to you. There's something special about every single one of us, I feel like, and we've talked about this before. Yeah. That there's something special about every single one of us. You have to highlight what's special about you, and be authentic to yourself. And I think if you do that, you'll be successful, definitely, because when you are comfortable in your own self and the message you're pitching, it's really, really easy to get that message across. When you try to be somebody else, it's hard. So I think that more than anything.
Someone said, I'd like to learn more about lead generation with you guys. So what would you answer to that? How can they get in touch with us?
So I think you can reach out to Vicky or myself, and it's Vicky@homequalified.com or Ralph@homequalified.com. And we're doing a lot of lead gen. And with that, if somebody asks me mistakes on that, I've probably spent millions of dollars at this point generating lead campaigns for my company. And so we've made a lot of mistakes, and I've learned things work. And, everything's always, I'm a salesperson, so I get sold by other salespeople, so everything always sounds good. Everything always sounds like the best new lead to us ever, but there's a lot of error in that. And I have 200 employees, and we do, we're going to do a couple of $1 billion this year in mortgage business. So I've generated a lot of leads, and I've made a lot of mistakes. So I think if you want to talk to us, we can definitely plug you into our lead programs, and at the same time point you in the right direction of what we think doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Well, someone has said, what's the best way or best advice if you're not comfortable in front of the camera?
You want to answer that?
I think that, I think it depends. I think that you have to figure out for yourself, what is it, how do you like giving a message, right? So for instance, with Ralph, I'll tell you straight up, and he can tell you himself, right? Like, if you put a camera in front of Ralph and just leave the camera there, it's going to be a very different Ralph versus me and Ralph just sitting here and having a conversation.
Yeah,
and like, that's something that I recognized a little early on, that like, when he's just himself and just talking, not prepared, like, I don't give him, we sit here and he doesn't even notice that I'm interviewing him and this video is about to be dope.
The last video we did, I didn't even know I was being interviewed, and it came out.
I'm sitting just like this and having a conversation, he doesn't even notice that this is happening, right? But that, even he figured it out himself, like watching that same, we keep talking about that legacy video, but even that was the video, he goes, I really like that model of us just like having a conversation and just happens to be on camera. So I think that the first step, actually, another example, one of my friends in college, she's a big influencer now. She has like 200,000 followers. I call her Jewett, right? So she basically, in the beginning, she was very nervous to speak. And I always talk on my Instagram, like, unless I'm busy in life. But like, she was like, yo, how do you do this? She had around, I would say, 7,000 followers at the time. And she's like, yo, how do you do this? Like, how do you just sit there and talk to the camera and like expect people to be there? And I said, I genuinely believe that I'm speaking to my people. Like, I'm just speaking to someone in the other side of it. And I know I'm trying to give them an experience and they can learn something from me. and I have to just resonate with that idea that somebody is listening to it for guidance.
Yeah.
And
I would also add to that, you know, I 100% that conversational style helps. But let's say you don't have an Elohio in your life, or you don't have anyone else that can interview you. I'd say it really begins with like our head. We're sometimes too stuck in our own thoughts. We think, I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to sound stupid. People are going to think something or criticize or comment. I'm going to come off the wrong way. So I have this whole idea, if we start to get out of our own heads and get out of our own thoughts and we just do it, you know, the more that we do it and we do it and we do it, the comfortable it eventually becomes. But it feels, even for myself, it feels and it felt and it still feels sometimes so uncomfortable, even when I get on stage, even when I have to do like presentations, webinars. But it's this whole like, just get out of your own thoughts. Just do it. Just do it.
It's all in your mind at the end of the day, you know, like, and the only way you do is just by doing it, you know, like just turning on the camera and actually just start speaking to it. It's just like my friend, I'm telling you, she went from 7,000 to 8,000 followers, whatever we had during college, and she really started to implement this aspect of it, like understanding that the people that are looking at her are because of, they're looking for fitness guidance, and it resonated with her. And so she actually started doing little videos on her car and like talking about these different things, the diet in your body. Now she has 200,000 followers, and like she, on top of that, she sells courses, she has a membership program, she has all that, and she like constant calls with her, all of her clients. But that all came from just taking the one step of me and her just sitting there talking about like why this is essential. Same way as you guys listening, why I'm telling you this is a very essential for you to do. But she started with that one video, and then everything else followed right after that. And so if you're scared of doing it, go outside and just try it out. Walk on the pier, go vibe out in the park. Do it by yourself until you feel comfortable. Put it out there. You're gonna have a lot of nerves. Are people gonna judge? Are people gonna do this? People are always gonna do that, regardless of what it is. At the end of the day, give your message and know that it's real for you. And at the end of the day, everything else will follow.
Yeah, I mean, I heard this before, and I've heard this before. You could, if you had a crowd in front of you and you threw gold coins in the crowd, somebody would complain because they got hit in the head. So yeah, so no matter what you do, somebody's not going to like what you're doing. So you can't think of it like that. You know, people sometimes just not going to like you. And I think I've posted about this, and I'll say this again, as far as, and this goes to being comfortable in front of the camera. When people criticize what you're doing, or kind of, and some of it's good. And I'll tell you this: I started HomeQualified.com, and the first video I ever put out, and HomeQualified.com was supposed to be a real estate news website. So the first video I ever put out, I had somebody record for me, and it was edited or whatever, and I sent it out to a bunch of people that was looking for help. And it's one of the companies was a PR company. The guy called me from Seattle, and I never forget this because I have the number saved in my phone. And he said to me, he's like, "Oh, you reached out to me. I wanted to talk to you about your video." I was like, "Oh, great!" Like I was thinking the guy wanted to help me, and he was like, "Yeah, this is terrible." He was like, you know, he's like, you know, you look good, you speak well. He's like, but it's poorly lit. It doesn't make sense what you're saying. Like he shredded me for like 5 minutes, and at the end of him doing that, I'm like, "Can I ask you what you were trying to accomplish with this phone call? Are you trying to sell me something? Like, what are you trying to accomplish?" He's like, "Nah, I just saw it and I wanted to let you know." So I hung up the phone, and the competitive side of me was really upset. I was like, screw him, he doesn't know what he's talking about, I'll prove him wrong. And I did prove him wrong, but the truth of the matter was that he was right. It was dimly lit. What I was saying didn't make sense. So take the criticism and kind of roll with it and just make it better. You know, I could go, if that guy saw me now, it would be a completely different conversation from 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, whenever it was. But he shredded me, so.
For sure.
Good advice.
Vic, anything else in there?
No more questions on my end.
No more questions? I just want to look on Facebook to make sure. All right, guys. We really appreciate everybody for coming on today. And again, reach out to us. Everybody's going to get an email after this. That's going to go out. Kayla's on it. Kayla, if you could just send the email to everybody with next week's event. We'd love to see you on that one too. And if you have any interest in talking to us about the lead programs or the video programs, Kayla's going to be emailing all you. You can reach out to her and she can connect the dots to everybody else.
For sure. Thank you guys for tuning in. I think that we're building something very beautiful here, and I'm really happy to see so many people continue to participate, man, and it really feels like family. And I think that we are just going to continue to build. I know a lot of people are feeling a little scared about 2020, but it's 2020, baby. We got a lot of good things coming, so stay blessed.
Yeah, definitely. We've just started to scratch the surface. This is only the beginning of something big that we continue to build, so I'm excited. I'm very, very excited.
Thank you, guys.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one, guys.
Everybody stay safe.